Thank you, Mr. Ramakhuela, our head of communication in the province, our head of disaster in the province, MEC Makamu, and also our MEC, Rakhweni, for Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure, and also Director General, Mr. Nchabeling, and most importantly to you, our partners in this crisis, because as the media house, for us as government, we see you as our partners towards service delivery, because in most cases where we have partnered with you, we have seen messages and positive messages. Sometimes even negative messages are required because they then assist us in making sure that indeed we keep on soldiering in order to deliver quality services for our people. Good morning to all of you, esteemed members of the media, and once more I must thank you for making sure that you join us today during this critical time of our province, so that you should be able, through you, to convey the message to the people of this country and also even across the borders of South Africa. We've gathered here, colleagues, under a dark cloud that has unleashed astonishing rains, unprecedented in their intensity, measuring up to 400 millimeters in just mere days. The devastation inflicted upon our communities, our infrastructure, and tragically, the loss of lives can never be overstated. This calamity began swirling above our heads just weeks ago, tracing back to December 25, 2025, in the Waterberg and Capricorn district, and escalated dramatically with the heavy rains last week, affecting Vembe, Mubani, and also parts of Sekhukhune district. The repercussions of these floods are profound. Roads have been swept away, bridges are no longer standing, and communities are cut off from their economic lifelines and their daily routines. Water and electricity infrastructure have been severely damaged, causing the consternation amongst our communities, because this is a basic necessity that we all rely on for survival. That is why it is important that assessment work be done by our municipality includes these vital areas. Actually, it is our priority to make sure that working with national government, electricity and water become prioritized and are restored. Schools have been destroyed, health facilities crippled, and families are displaced. Their homes reduced into memories. I stand before you today not just as a premier, but also as a fellow citizen of Limpopo, my beautiful province, sharing in grief and also in distress that is felt across our province. As of today, we regret to inform you that we have lost a total of 9 lives to these floods. This is the number that includes the 7 that happened during December and the 2 that has happened since the 1st of January. And with the latest heartbreaking case involving a 5-year-old child who could not be saved by his parents when they were fighting desperately for safety in the Mbaula village. I hereby, on behalf of the people of Limpopo, extend my deepest condolences to all the families who are grieving today during this tragic period. We mourn together, and I believe as a proud province, we will rise together. We did convene an emergency meeting with the extended executive council. We also included our local and district municipalities and also various stakeholders to commence the daunting task of quantifying the extent of the damage, especially when you look at infrastructure damage. There is at the moment, if I can share with you, that over 4 billion will be required to cover work across infrastructure. However, I must emphasize that these figures just remain provisional because we have not yet assessed certain areas which are very difficult for us to can even access. Even those with helicopters, because of the weather challenges, they are not able to access some of those areas. So we anticipate the worst outcomes as assessments continue amidst the weather challenges. Because you'll remember the visit by the president even yesterday. We should have started at Giani, proceed to Palabura, proceed to parts of around the Zingi area, the Pafuri area, but pilots even warned against because it was very difficult. That's why we ended up only in Chakuma, and also later on, when the situation allows us, we were able to take the president to Mbaula village, because you remember in the morning yesterday, the whole area was covered with water. The MEC Makamu tried to even start there, but it was very difficult. But later during the day, we've been able to access those communities that have been displayed. So far, the reports paint a harrowing picture. Numerous national and provincial roads have been critically damaged. We have so far received reports that the following national roads have been badly damaged. You know, the R527 around the Hoedspruit area, where the tourism industry has been badly affected because we use this particular road to visit Hoedspruit. R40 next to the Maseke Game Reserve. You go to R71 between Gravelot and Palabura. It's a serious headache from the pictures that we have received from the communities out there. R36 between Oaks and off Kolaku. The R578, the Silwana Road, those who knows, these are some of them are part of the Maruleng and also Palabura municipalities near Makuba. The R526 between the R40 intersection and the Gravelot. The R529 from Greater Litaba Bridge to the Ayland Road. And also that was one of the roads that we had already started to think of fixing the other parts. Now the entire road has been badly damaged. The R71 towards Palabura, we have also closed it due to rain. Similarly, is the R40 around Palabura area, having suffered the same fate. Actually, even yesterday when I was discussing with the executive mayor, Councillor Puleshai, he was, he cut off. He could not even join us as we were doing rounds within his municipality because he's reside in Palabura. 4 bridges, if I'm not mistaken, my 2 MECs, 4 bridges that access us to Palabura are all damaged. And the R521 from Luitregat to Punda Maria Gate via Toyando, it has major portions that has been destroyed, badly so. So in total, we've identified a total of 439 roads with a total kilometer radius of over 600 that would require urgent attention. So our district and local municipalities have also reported damaged streets within their localities, which they shall include in the total costing. These are the streets that access to clinics, These are the streets that are accessing to police station. They're accessing our people to clinics, to schools. Hence, you have seen that kids in some areas are not going to school. So the sheer damage of our roads, it's something that even the reserve fund that we put in place in our provincial treasury will not even be able to handle. The sheer scale of the damage to the road network makes it impossible for the province and also our affected municipalities to have the ability to respond and the intervention of the national government, in particular, Department of Transport through SANRAL, must be extended to provincial and district roads, because on our own, even those provincial roads, even those municipality roads, it's going to be very difficult for us when we start with the process of rebuilding Limpopo and some of our internal streets within the township and also within our villages. As it is, the around 1.7 billion would be required for the repairs while assessments are still continuing. We have also asked the assistance, as you have noted, from the South African National Defence Force on the temporary restoration of the access roads. The Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure will, in areas where rains have stopped, start with the process of reconnecting bridges, including the requested assistance to the SANDF. We have been inundated with requests by communities to fix their infrastructure, to reconnect them. And we know what it means, because workers are not able to go to work. Some employers are not understanding that employees have been cut off. Therefore, economic activities in our province, in some parts of our province, have come to a halt. We need additional capacity to do this, especially with our schools, accessibility to our schools. In total, we know that all these 439 roads will require all of us, from national government up to the local government, to be able to work towards restoring them. The magnitude of this damage far exceeds the capacity that the provincial emergency fund would have. So we have also commenced the process of restoring access, as I've already indicated, especially to those communities that have been calling me, texting me that they can't go to work, to say to them, please bear with us. We are in a disaster, but we will work together, and indeed we shall overcome. I also urge our communities, please refrain from risking your lives. Some of you have seen on social media where you are attempting to cross dangerous water. Some of you, you are doing it just for the sake of trending or some few likes. I'll repeat what I've told some of you as journalists. But your safety comes first. Not only your safety. Remember, when you have been swept away with your car, we must get people to come and rescue you. Those are human beings like me and you. And with the current floods, some of them are not going to survive. So we've seen in situations where those who are going to rescue, unfortunately, their lives are lost. Hence, we are pleading with you to say, when you do that for the sake of trending, unfortunately, many lives will be affected. Or some because they want to be peacetime heroes. We've seen community spreading and cheering up a vehicle risking to cross such a bridge. Perhaps maybe we should condemn that, to say that is uncalled for. It's barbaric. If you want to be a hero, come to us. We will give you jobs to do where people will appreciate that indeed you are a hero for the people of Limpopo, but not by risking your lives and the lives of others. And you are doing it in front of our children. And when our children are learning that, they grew up learning wrong things. We've seen that human settlements, especially our houses and public facilities, many countless families have been affected. And as it is for now, over 1,600 homes, as I was discussing with MEC Makamu, have suffered the damage, with many of those washed away entirely, like the area we visited yesterday, Director General. It has become a ground where you can play soccer tournament, because there is nothing that can even show you that there were houses, there were people who were residing here. It's so terrible and it is so bad. So some houses in some areas, they remain submerged with water. Some in those houses you can see that the water was reaching even the roof level. So it has already jeopardized the structural integrity, if you can look at it. So let us recognize also and appreciate the solidarity that we have seen as the provincial government amongst our communities. When we visited the community of Chakuma, we asked them, because their houses were still submerged underwater, where are you staying? Because we have not yet been able to access that area to provide temporary shelter. But that's where we saw humanity. That's where I pride myself to be the premier of the people of Limpopo, where they could say our neighbors were able to accommodate us. We've seen the same at Mbaula village, when we interacted with our communities there, our members there, our people there who have been displaced. Where are you staying? What are you eating? Before we come with the help, they are residing, some with relatives, of course, but majority of them with their neighbors. So I'm saying to the people of Limpopo, that's who we should be known for in this country, so that even other people from out there must know, when we say Ubuntu, when we say the people of Limpopo love each other, this is what we are referring to. So the solidarity that you have shown amongst yourself, where neighbors have opened their homes and to those in need during this challenging time. Let me thank you. Let me appreciate you. Let me say and repeat, I'm proud to be your premier. So the impact on the public facilities, it's equally alarming. As of the 6th of January, 2026, we managed to document the damaged schools to about 31. With this figure, it's likely to rise. We have had to hold the reopening of a total number of 1,400 schools in affected areas. Some of these schools, it's not that they are damaged by storms, but we had to suspend a teaching, which is very painful for us, because children's safety comes first. You have seen that in some areas, parents are helping kids, risking our kids' life. Hence we said to all these schools which are cut off, we must suspend teaching. We've agreed with the MEC for Education that immediately after the whole disaster would have come to an end, we will develop a catch-up plan where provincial government will provide resources, be it of teachers, be it of materials, so that we can get extra time for our learners to be able to catch up. Because 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 second lost towards teaching accumulated, they will result into a 0% pass rate. I can tell you the school that has performed in that, it's because throughout the year they were missing out on teaching, and teaching time was never protected. So we want to protect the teaching time, and we're saying we are in a period of disaster. Those schools that are not affected, especially in districts like Capricorn, Skukune, and Waterberg, we are urging them to say continue protecting teaching time, so that when we come with a catch-up plan, we don't have to deal with the entire province, but we will have to deal with those particular areas with the limited resources that we have. We've also recorded a significant impact on our health facilities that was attributed to mostly overflowing rivers, which have damaged the bridges and made impossible roads that have restricted access to multiple healthcare facilities, affecting both the patient care and staff mobility. These were recorded especially in Vembe district, where we have seen the Chinga clinic. Yes, Chinga is the area we would have loved to visit yesterday, but unfortunately, the Weather Bureau, they advise against the Hope Clinic, Dubuleza Clinic, and Chipise Clinic. They are all inaccessible as we speak. The most significant single facility in Vembe to witness the damage is the Elim Hospital, where serious roof leaks have occurred and significant damage to interior ceilings. Futures and fittings have taken place. In Mopani, we have a total of 7 hospitals and 19 clinics that have infrastructure challenges that have been caused by these floods. Not forgetting also a number of clinics that are now inaccessible because of the damaged roads and bridges. So in Waterberg, the storm damage has been reported for hospitals in Varambat, in Vilavila, Elisras Hospital in Vilipalale, FH Hodendale in Mudimule, and Mukopane Hospital in Mogalakwena. So far, no report has been obtained from the Skukune district, but safe to note that the Mutlane Clinic guard room was destroyed by floods. So we currently are estimating 7 million damage to some of these facilities that we will have to work hard to be able to fix, to get them fixed. We are also worried about our agricultural sector. We know that without this sector, none of us can survive. We are all sitting here because we had a breakfast of bacon and egg produced by our farmers. So since January 2026, the department, you might have noticed that they did intensify the extreme weather warnings to caution the provincial farmers about the high risk of flooding within the province and in all our 5 provincial districts. So damages to crops that have been encountered, especially we have noted that the vegetable crops such as the cabbage, spinach, butternuts, cucumbers, amongst a few of those that we've been able to do assessment. We've seen that damages to on-farm roads and also the bridges have also been reported, as well as damages to infrastructure such as the buildings and also their storerooms. You know, farmers, even if they produce those their goods, they need to transport them to where we are and all to their markets. But unfortunately, when the roads and the bridges are damaged, they won't be able to transport them. So if we don't fix urgently, unfortunately, as I've said earlier on, we will all be affected and we will all die of hunger if this particular sector is not taken care of. So unfortunately, the quantification of these losses is not yet made due to the inaccessibility to the flood affected areas. We can't access, our teams can, some even the farmers themselves, because one of the farmers was saying they are estimating amongst their area around 16 million that is required to fix some of their infrastructure that has been damaged. We are also indicating to you that even our libraries across our district have been damaged, where in the roof, unfortunately in the middle of the night, when there's no one in the library, when as the roof leaks, the books, the shelves, and the computers in our libraries, and we will require in some areas where we've already done an assessment, 12 million to be able to restore these libraries and to be able to procure the new books that have been damaged. So the South African Social Security Agency, our SASSA, has also conducted its own assessment and provided food parcels to the qualifying victims as part of saying we are responding to the disaster. Emergency shelters, the blankets, and also the sleeping mattresses, they've been provided by respective municipalities to the affected victims. So the long-term plan through the MEC for Coxter and also the Minister for Human Settlement would be the provision of permanent structures, our RDP houses, and also the reconstruction and rehabilitation of our damaged public infrastructure. The MEC has already indicated to me to say if on Sunday we are not on level 10, together with the Minister of Human Settlement, they would be starting with those areas, both Vembe and Mupani, where the houses have been completely destroyed, so that assessment can start, and then we can see how do we get them to be fixed. But we are also saying to our traditional leaders and also to our municipalities, this work of building human settlements would require the safe area where we must rebuild. There are certain areas, for instance, your wetlands, and also the areas on the low-lying areas next to the rivers, because we anticipate that the disaster will be with us year in, year out. So whatever planning we are doing now, we must plan. If you want to construct next to the river, plan with the back of your mind to say, what if this river bank starts to burst? What will happen to my house? So we will be expecting our traditional leaders to work with the department and also our municipalities to start identifying safe areas where we are going to build these houses. So I would want to summarize that our provincial treasury, in collaboration with all our relevant entities and all our municipalities, has initiated the calculations to assess the financial cost of this disaster. Sadly, the South African Weather Services project that we may even face further rainfall and additional damage. So I implore our communities, those of you who are living in low-lying areas, I know some of you, it's not your fault, but we are saying, when you reside next to flooded rivers, please seek safety and more secure locations before we see another disaster, another life lost. One life lost is too many for me. So I'm saying we are working closely with the Weather Service team, and they keep on updating us and warning us. So when they do that, our communication team will be communicating with all of you to say, in this particular area, the South African Weather Service is projecting that you will be at level 9 or you'll be at level 10. So when we communicate that way, that we are saying, use that information to be proactive. You won't lose anything for that evening to go and sleep at your aunt or at your cousin where you know it's safe. And then even if there's no flooding, but your life will be saved. What if there's a flooding and you don't seek safe shelter? Unfortunately, some of these things unfortunately happened at night when all of us are fast asleep. So that's why we are saying, let's be proactive. So let me extend my heartfelt gratitude to our first responders, our municipalities, our ward councillors, our community leaders, our ward committees, and secondly, our provincial disaster management team. Not only them, even the municipal disaster management teams working together. They are the first one to be on the scene. Our South African police services, the air wing, which is always there to support, especially those who are trapped. The Limpopo Department of Health, the emergency services unit, the aeromedicine unit that has been providing support where patients are trapped and they are able to go and airlift them to nearest facilities. Most importantly, the South African National Defence Air Force. We really appreciate your unwavering commitment, risking your lives so that our people can be safe. The rapid response under dire conditions will always remember you for that. Your courage and your dedication will never go unnoticed. And thank you, our media houses, because you have made sure that the story of Limpopo is told, that Limpopo this time around needs your help, that Limpopo this time around wants national government to come and support us. We also want to appreciate His Excellency, the head of the state, President Phophi Ramathuba, to say for him to be visiting us after we have just spoken to him in a short notice. We really appreciate, because his visit gave us courage as the Executive Council to say we are not alone. This is a disaster. It requires everyone. Let me conclude by urging vigilance and caution during this critical period. Together we can overcome this calamity. We will rise stronger, united in our efforts to build and restore hope. We know that as a province, we have never had such disaster. We are used to watching them on TV happening in other parts of the world. I remember when I was MEC for Health, and I would take my EMS team to say, go to KZN, go even abroad to go and understand how to manage disaster. Little did I know that the day I become a premier, that team would be ready to can be able to respond. So we also thank you, all of you who are here. So as we continue to navigate these challenging waters, we remain committed to supporting our communities and all our communities. We would love to be in every single village. We would love to be in every single household that is affected. But however, it is not practical, it is not possible. All our MECs from today, they are deployed. Actually from yesterday, they will be visiting different areas where it's accessible. But we are pleading to the communities. Sometimes you must understand, our MECs do not have helicopters. The DG has not yet procured. So even if they would love to go to certain areas, if the bridge has been swept away, when you have your councillor there, when you have your ward committee there, know that you have your mayor, know that you have your MEC, know that the premier is there, know that ministers are there, know that the president is there, because that is a ward councillor who has been elected by the same system that elects all of us. They are elected to be there in our absence. So don't say, but the president has not come to my village, but the premier has only visited Chakum. It is not practical to be everywhere. But we will be visiting, especially prioritizing the areas that are in dire need, like the Mbaula villages, We had to do that, but we will also check the safety of our deployees before we deploy them. So let's continue to work together, ensuring that every voice is heard and every need is addressed. Let me thank you once more. Thank you, Mr. Ramakwe.
I am used to people clapping hands after she has spoken, so I see it's a media briefing. Thank you, Madam Premier, for taking us through, giving that detail, which was necessary to allow the rest of Limpopo and the country as a whole to understand where we are as a province. What are the areas where we require attention, and what steps have we taken in dealing with this particular disaster? I see you have raised your hands. We shall use that process of identification as well as then questions. If you can, let's not go and have 5 questions, 1 or 2 at most. And we are talking about disaster, isn't it? The floods. So if we can keep it along those lines, the rest of other questions we could answer on one-on-one. Thank you. Let's start with you. Your name, Big T will help me also noting some of the questions.
Hi, my name is Malungelo Boy from Newsroom Africa. Bruno, you've painted a dire picture. I just want to get a sense, though, whether do you think there are still people that may be stuck in some villages that are inaccessible that your officials have not been able to get to? Are there? And the other question is, the president was here yesterday, and I suppose part of his visit here is to also assess the situation and see if this province would be declared a disaster. Is there an indication that that's likely to happen anytime soon? Thank you.
Thank you so much, and greetings, Premier. This is Mangale Metema from Daily Sun. I have only 2 questions. My first questions will be, what is the state of the people who have been severely affected by these floods? My question means, do they have enough food? Do they have enough shelter? Are they safe? Their health and so forth. And my second question will be, will the government be helping these families, the over 1,600 families that their homes have been severely damaged, to rebuild those homes, and how soon can that commence? Thank you so much.
Young lady there at the back.
Thank you for this opportunity. Greetings to Premier and everyone here. I'm Elizabeth Mararanya from Radio TEV. My question be, are there any strict measures that will be implemented to residents who are staying in low-lying areas forcefully? So I'm speaking this from a point of view that we have seen residents, when we have warned them that this is a low-lying area, and during floods or heavy rainfalls, there could be heavy, bad situations in return, but they forced to build on those kind of areas. So I'm asking this, if any, perhaps let me say from the provincial government, have any implemented measures to take note of this kind of people who continue to build against warned or demarcated areas, because rains, we know that any time a rain can fall, and this is a national disaster that can be implemented at any time. So I was suggesting if there could be any measures to be required, to be dedicated to such people during these times. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel Gwinda, representing Energy FM and Choice FM. The first question will be, I think, directed to the MEC for Public Works there. Is there a lesson that have been learned in terms of design of roads and bridges moving forward as we start with the construction after this disaster? Is there a lesson that have been learned moving forward? And then the other question, I'm interested in knowing if whether there is a sign of any appetite from neighboring countries to assist in this situation that we are in. Thank you.
Okay, next one.
Ya ka tupushiti fela. Motlhompe tona kgolo. Le sa tswella o tsa gore ditaetso ke tsa gore meso e mmedi ka baka la phetogo ya leratadima meso e mmedi e ya go tswela pele go ba gona ngogola o bile Waterberg le nyaga ke Mopane le Vembe le Sekhukhune e ya go tswela pele puso ke gore na go nna le se se dirwang ka mokgwa wa dibukana goba di-brochures goba mengwalo e mengwe mo go ngwala melaetša ya tšeo ditšhaba tse di fapanego di ka go di dira ge mafula a dutse a fitlhile ka gore fa o kgotsa go tshedimoso bontsi ba tshedimoso bo ba gona ka sekgowa goba seesemane seo magagetso a sa se kweng a sa se pušitšeng gomme seo bakeng sa go ba bonatla ke bofokodi bo bogologologologolo ya mmuso ka gore batho ba ga borena a ba tsebe go nna ba direng ka ge go sena tsebo le tshedimoso ke a leboga
Tsebisa Mogalawe.
diphete bo gate ke jwa seipone ke a leboga hle
Is that all? Okay. Let's allow the two MECs to take any of the questions first, and then the remainder, then the Premier will be in other avenues, they call it a sweeper. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Greetings to the Premier, my colleague MEC Rachweni, DG, and all media houses who are here. I will want to take the first question that refers to Newsroom Africa about, as the Premier is speaking here, could... Thank you. The question that relates that, is it possible that as we are sitting here, are we getting other people trapped or not, or the number? Let me indicate that definitely you have got a right question. Sitting here now, I just received information that there is a community around Gyan Maswangani area disturbed. Our health people, our emergency have gone to rescue them. But also the Premier was speaking about the numbers of the fatalities. As we're sitting here, we're still being updated that a particular area, somebody else in Sekhukhune, has been swept by the water. So the information, like the Premier said, we continue to have our people on the ground who are gathering information. So as Premier said, the South African Weather Services has indicated yesterday a level 10. You will know, we were talking about 9 and 6, which is orange. But now we're talking about level 10, which is red. That shows that we still have to expect more, hence the Premier is requesting such intervention from the President. The second question talks about classification. The Premier reported just here that she convened an extraordinary extended disaster forum of the province, which included mayors, included all MECs. We have started the process of making an application to allow the province to be declared a disaster province so that it can be able to help us to access the necessary resources that will be able to clarify or make the work easy to access the funds like she spoke about. Well, the houses, the Premier reported, in fact, I don't know why, that already we are planning to have a program together, myself and the MEC, for Minister for Human Settlement, that will be coming to these affected areas. Not that people are waiting for the Minister and the MEC. As the Premier said that 1,600, that must tell you that already there are people, officials on the ground who are doing the assessment. So it will be just for us to give that political support to the teams which are on the ground. They are there, they've been to the household and be able to talk to them. The question about the measures, and I think the question from Radio TEF might be in relation to the community we know that is sitting somewhere where they stayed, where it's impossible for us as government to rescue them because of where they're. The only answer we'll give you is that there is a process of how sites must be demarcated. The traditional leadership is affected, the municipality is affected, Coxstar is affected. But in the majority of cases where you see people having their houses, nice houses, big houses, in low-lying areas or flooding zones, it's mainly because they built before the approval could be done or given with the assessment or environment impact assessments are done. So I think it's one thing that requires education more than strict measures so that people can know. Because when they are in trouble, that's what they call the premier. Whereas they should have been part of agreeing whether where they want to go, it's suitable for habitation or not. So those are the issues, premier. I think I needed to assist, and I think the rest requires, the difficult ones requires you.
MEC Rachweni.
No, thanks very much, and let me take this opportunity again to greet our Honorable Premier, MEC, and all colleagues that are gathered here, in particular those that are from the media. The question here was raised by Quinda from NH Interest of FM about the issue of designs. It's just unfortunate that now we're in a disaster and we speak about floods, but we're trying by all means as the department to always get capable people to do our designs when we construct our roads in the province. So it's just unfortunate now that there is floods, but in most of our roads, we make sure that when we appoint capable people. Even in-house at the department and also at the road agency Limpopo, we have capable engineers that are helping with designs. So on the issue of designs, I think we can say that we are always trying our level best to make sure that we have capable people to design our roads in the province. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you to my two colleagues, MEC. I'm not sure, maybe DG, if you wanted, you are covered by the MECs. No, thank you very much. I think they did almost address every question except the interpretation. I must accept, and I think sometimes wisdom, you can always get it when you engage in a forum like this. We acknowledge that. We will, because you have seen that we have been issuing, like I've indicated, agriculture has been issuing all the warnings, and Department of Transport was also issuing all the warnings, and you are quite right. If I remember, we are issuing them in English. When even those who are residing in the low-lying areas, I remember all those messages were in English. So we will take our Department of Sports, Arts and Culture so that they can start interpreting all those messages in all the languages that are spoken in our province. We take that as a guidance and we take that advice and we'll definitely implement it. Just that when you are in a disaster, sometimes you miss that, and which is might appear not to be critical, whereas is the very critical one. So I think the MEC for Coxstar has responded to you, Malungelo, to say even now it's still raining, and just to even add, as if yesterday's death we thought maybe we are enough, we won't register. An old man in Malungane village, Palaboro, has drowned, adding to this number. MEC has already spoken about the 14-year-old has drowned there by April in Skokun. So we are still having people who are trapped. As long as it continues to rain, it continues to flood, people will still continue to get trapped. So this advice for people who are within those low-lying, that's why I was emphasizing, once the weather service advise us, we will share the message with you, and you also assist by spreading the message to the communities out there so that they can know. In terms of the food and the shelter, I mean, MEC responded. Currently, we are the health services. We are making sure that even those that are cut off do access. Of course, in some emergency, there is one community healthcare worker who called me yesterday to say, even though they don't want to appoint me permanent, there was a woman in labor in my village where they are cut off, and she had to become a midwife. She said, I worked with nurses and I know what they do, and I did exactly that, and the baby is alive. Those are the stories that in the middle of this disaster, we are now starting to see those public servants. So I was saying to her, no, I will need your CV. Perhaps I'll take you to Coxter if health doesn't want to take you, because you are an asset to the community. You didn't say, what if the baby dies when you did the right thing. You didn't say, no, I'm not qualified. You are sitting with a disaster, an emergency. Somebody had to take that baby out, or either the mother and the baby would have died. So I want to thank those that are the Limpopo people that I'm talking about, to say they understand who are in a disaster. There are others who are always fighting even during this difficult time. So we do understand. But what I also needed to add, especially from Radio TAF, is that the sensitivity of this issue of people who are staying in the low-lying area, it's too sensitive currently for us to go around and say, we told you, R71, we told you. When people have lost everything that they have, when a life has been lost, currently allow us to deal with the disaster, where lives must be preserved and saved. Let's save the lives and preserve them. And when we are all fine around June, come sit with MEC Makam and let's start to evict people. Let's start to talk about. But when you talk about it now, it becomes an African. But all what we can say now is that those of you who are in the low-lying area, if we warn you that today you are in level 9 or 10, please seek for shelter. But for now, we don't want to say, we told you so. So Radio TAF, you can't tell a person, once it has happened, it has happened. There's no need to say, we told you so. We told you so doesn't work. It only assists us to prevent in future, but not when we are in this disaster situation that we're in.
Okay, thank you. Are those all the questions that we have? Big T, my gadgets are acting up. There were two questions that they had online, which we are trying to get them through. If you can just read them for you, Premier, to assist from News 24. The other question as well was, I think we have addressed that question. It was about the death. You spoke about, you said 9, and we've been consistent that we are reporting from the 25th of December up to now. So the disaster didn't only happen now, it happened before. So Tato Kololo from News 24, she's asking, or he's asking, how can Limpopo effectively respond to the current level flood warnings and the active floods across 5 districts when key disaster coordinator positions in high-risk areas like Capricorn remain unfilled? It's almost specific to a district. As the number of questions here continue, they seem to have information more about the district. But I thought maybe let's speak in general as a province, what are we doing to empower the Disaster Management Center for a quick response. So either MEC Makamu or yourself may respond to that. The rest of Tato's questions are specific to Capricorn, where they speak about X, Y department or area that is not being filled. So we'll allow you to take through that particular question. But if there's any more question that comes from the floor, we'll take it. Madam Premier or MEC Makamu, whoever will take that question will be fine. Thanks. MEC Makamu, thank you.
Thanks very much, and thanks, Premier. I think it's a matter that Premier has raised it since she got into the position to create a capacity in the Provincial Disaster Management Center, not only in the Capricorn district, but I can confirm that all our districts do have what we call head of disaster center, including Capricorn district, does have all the 5 districts, does have. It could be other positions which are there. But I must indicate that disaster is managed in terms of Disaster Management Act. There are certain positions you can't do without. Like in the province, we need to have what you call a head of a disaster management center, which is Dr. Makalanis. But people may not see him, it's not well. We have appointed the capable woman to head the disaster, Mema Tudi, for now. Nationally, whether minister is there or other, we have got Dr. Stolle, who head the National Disaster Management Center, who is empowered in terms of the Disaster Management Act to do certain things. And I think we can't take the challenges we are having and say it's mainly we are failing to respond to that challenge or that challenge on the basis that there are certain positions which are vacant. The minimum capacity that we need to respond, as we are responding. And I thought maybe even the News 24 will start by commending Premier that there were people trapped in Pafuri who were there to resolve. There are people there in Baula we did there. There were people in Mutale, 3 of them, we were able to rescue them when people are talking. Even when we are sitting here, myself and the Premier, we are getting information where people are trapped and we are giving to disaster centers of the districts and they are responding. And I thought people should start by commending the Premier that we see your government responding in that province. That's what I wanted to say, Premier. Thanks.
No, thank you, MEC. Maybe just to update in terms of the death, Mr. Ramakwe, when we add these 2, it now gives a total of 11 from December to now. But when you look at their circumstances, the one that we say it is the one child who drowned from, I would say, his home because they were trying to escape flooding in the house, which then gives you the capacity that we are having in terms of rescuing and responding, especially hence I always appreciate what SNDF. So the others, unfortunately, like the ones we've received today, wherein we are told that they were trying to, whether they were crossing the river or such. Hence, we are saying that message of saying when you see a low-lying bridge, don't attempt to cross. No matter how much of a good swimmer you are, a river that is angry, unfortunately, even the best Olympic winners, swimmers, can't be able to cross that particular river. So that is where the major challenges we are having, especially with this regrettable death that we have registered. Most of them were swept by either the bridge or the river. So we are pleading to say let's run away from a river that is full. Let's just run away from it at all. Hence, I was emphasizing even those parents that I see the quest of education, the passion you have. Please, let's not risk our children, even ourselves, because something can happen. You might think that as a parent, you can help the kids to cross that river, like I saw they were doing in one of the videos which was sent to me. and you don't know that there is a dam probably out there. What if that dam bursts and it floods on you? The whole chain, it's gone. We understand the situation we're in. We would have loved to build all these bridges long time ago. We have not. We're in this situation. Let's minimize the loss, especially of life, by staying away from the rivers. I've said with education, the MEC is working on a catch-up program. So even if the kids miss teaching and learning, but we know we preserve their lives, we will come back. So some are seeing it as a way of saying we are going to mock government, they don't have bridges. Just know that that can end up being as a disaster. We have got to take life serious. Life comes first, and let's not gamble with our children's life. We can't do that. That one I am against, totally against. You can catch up if you miss time for education, but if you die, you're gone. You can never catch up life.
Thank you, Madam Premier. Just one last from Clifford, Jacaranda FM News. We've taken Makura from them, so they have Clifford now, who's asking that please indicate which departments the government had to take money from to respond to this calamity, or was the money taken from emergency relief fund? If so, how much are we talking about pending the application for the declaration of the state of disaster? So which department have we taken money from, if we have, or is it coming from the emergency fund that you spoke about? That is the one question. The second question, do we have people who are currently housed at community halls? If so, which areas, MEC Makamu, that would speak to you? Let's start with you and then the Premier, and then we'll then close off all the questions. Thank you.
Thanks very much. We have about 35 families which are housed at the church in Mbaula. Already when we were there yesterday, the municipality provided mattresses. They were able to provide blankets. This morning, I had a discussion with the executive mayor and the local mayor how we should be able to source out food for them. I'm working with the CDW around there. He was on the ground trying to see how much quantity of food we should be able to make available. And they will still be working on it. I think by the time I'm here, others are working on it on the ground. I think the Premier will talk about the funds.
As I've indicated earlier on to Jacaranda, what we did, I think last year, having learned from the disaster, and as a province, while we were waiting for national to declare and provide resources, we find ourselves wanting those bridges that have cut off communities from economic activities needed to be fixed. Now, when we allocated the budget, what we do, the law allows you to take 1.2% of your overall budget in terms of allocation from when you are allocating. 1.2 can be ring fence, which we did exactly that. So that is the money that has not been taken from, I would say it has been taken from all the departments, because it's money that comes from the total budget. We just took as when we were allocating to say 1.2% must be ring fence and be able to assist us while we are waiting for the national intervention. Because we're saying climate change is here. We need to mitigate for it. So as a province, how does the law assist us to be able to mitigate and to come up with this a resource that we do not have as a province? If we were to wait for a disaster and you start to say roads give us, it's roads that wants the money. And say Coxter give us, Coxter wants the money for human settlement. Health wants to rebuild the clinic. Education, their schools are damaged, they want to fix. So there's no any other department where you will take this budget from. Hence, from the beginning, we've decided to say on an annual basis, we're going to reinforce, ring fence this 1.2% that will assist us during this period like now.
Thank you so much, Madam Premier, for honoring us with the responses and the time here this morning. The NEC for Coxstar, thank you, Mklabe, for the time, and also the MEC for Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure, Pakana Tlavirwa, Releboa, and the Director General, Mr. Nape Nchabileng Tao, Releboa, for your time. And to all of you journalists, we thank you for your time that we are able to be with us to share this information. If you have further questions, if you would like to arrange interviews, you may contact Mr. Moaba, Mr. Tiwari Moaba. Those of you who don't know him, please just stand up. Is this one? And or myself for arranging interviews with the Premier. Going further, there are others that are already lined up here after this session. But thank you so much. Let's continue to spread the message of safety for those who are affected and other communities. It's a good afternoon already. Let's all go and do our work. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe my one last plea, I saw the ruling party, which we belong to, some of us, the ANC coming up with a very great initiative that all of you, you have got a shirt that you have not worn in the past 3 months. You don't need it. Please, let's donate. Emmanuel Quinda, there's pants, trousers that you have not worn for some time. You don't need it. There are people who lost everything that they have. So if you have a dress like me, you don't wear it. Please, it's time to say go and deposit it where they have given us. We are appreciating that particular intervention to say, let's go and collect our clothes, so that even when we are saying we're waiting for national to intervene or for NGOs, let's be our own NGOs as the citizen. That's when being active citizens, it's all about. Let's donate what we have, what our children have, so that those children that we saw yesterday can have clothes that they are going to be wearing like all our children. School shoes, uniform that they've lost. Let's go and donate. Let's prioritize those areas. It will go a long way in assisting. I thought I should just share with you what I saw, and which I'm supporting fully what the ANC has done in the province.
Thank you, Madam Premier. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.